Do you know what a preliminary title report is? Do you know what it's for? How to use it? How to read it? Well, I drove down to meet my title rep downtown San Jose at San Pedro Square, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. Hi again, this is Vito Scarnecchia, Abitano I'm Real Estate, your realtor in San Jose, California. Today we're talking with Kelly Vincelette, Vice President of Business Strategy at Cornerstone Title. And today we're going to talk about what a preliminary title report is. Now Kelly and I go back many years. I'd hate to say that because you're still young.
I think 15.
Yeah, 15 years. And she called me up and said, hey Vito, I want to be your title rep. And I'm like, I'm with X company and I'm fine and this and that. And she kept on talking to me. And I said, Kelly, I'll tell you what, next time you buy or sell a house with me, I'll start working with you. And she said, Vito, I can't.
I said I would love to, except you have to give me your commission back.
Yeah, because my mom is in the business. And to me, that meant a whole lot more because she has the integrity enough to say, I would love to do business with you, but I can't do it under these circumstances. So in my mind, Kelly has probably the most integrity in the business.
Thanks, Vito.
And her loyalty to her parents, her mom, obviously that goes deep. So because of that, just kind of made sense for me to start working with Kelly, and that was 15 years ago. And We've never
been driving business ever since.
Yep, we've been doing great ever since. So again, okay, so now we're going to talk about what a title report is, or a preliminary title report.
A preliminary title report is a report that the title company creates that outlines the ownership of the property and the use and enjoyment of the property for the potential or future buyer.
Okay, so use and enjoyment, what does that mean?
So on the preliminary title report, we'll first talk about who the owner of the property is and their loans or any liens associated with their names. The next portion of it discusses easements, ingress, egress. So we outline what the new buyer use and enjoyment of the property would be. Meaning if you wanted to build a bocce ball court, ensuring that you could do that where you wanted to do it.
Or if you can have livestock or not.
If you can have livestock or not, yes. We'll do the easements, and then we also have the CC&Rs. Everything that has been recorded against the property, the title company discloses.
Right. So then what should a buyer look for in a preliminary title report?
So a buyer's gonna look for really just understanding what the easements and CC&Rs are on the property. It is the title company's job to make sure that the ownership is changed and all the debts and encumbrances from the seller are removed, so when the buyer takes ownership of the property, it is only their loans that are on the property. Okay. So they don't have to worry about that. Sometimes if you see an IRS lien or something to do with the government, it could change the timeline of the closing because sometimes those documents are harder for us to obtain. Usually we're working on them up front, but that would be the only red flag that I would see.
Okay. Who makes up a preliminary title report?
So the preliminary title report's created by our underwriters at a title department. And what they do is they've got access to county records and they will disclose the entire history of a property. So we will be able to pull up the easements, pull up the CC&Rs. Like I said, any debts and encumbrances, all of those get disclosed on the preliminary title report.
And they're clear to close?
Correct.
When you're ready, right?
Yeah. One of the big misconceptions with the title company is that we define what those use and enjoyments mean, meaning the easements. So if there is an easement or CC&Rs recorded on a property, we as a neutral third party are disclosing it to you. However, we're not necessarily interpreting the document and disclosing what that means to the buyer.
Or enforcing what it says on there, because they were written before, many years before. They can have things that HUD would now restrict.
Exactly.
Right.
So if you have specific questions when you're purchasing a property, go over them with your real estate agent. Or if it's a more complicated issue, I do advise talking to an easement attorney, and an easement attorney can really let you know how you can build on that property.
Right. Like if you wanted to put a second story on, could you do that? If you wanted to build out wider, what are your setback restrictions, those type of things?
Exactly.
Okay.
So I have a rule of thumb: if there are 3 or more easements, then you ask for a color-coded easement map at that point. You know, water easements typically aren't a big issue unless it's running right through the property. I have a friend currently that is remodeling a house, and they had a water line that went right through the middle of the property where they wanted to put their pool. That was an issue through the transaction. Another one, but the PG&E easements where it's wires that are in the air are not really plottable. So you want to make sure if you're going to ask for a color-coded easement map that they are plottable easements, and usually 3 or more is my rule of thumb.
What do you look for on a preliminary title report that can affect the closing?
Yeah, so the few things that we look about, so Santa Clara County is a seller pay county, and so we open a prelim and start reviewing the report as soon as your listing contract is signed. And at that point, we'll verify that ownership is the correct owners, and then we'll look at the loans that they have on the property. Most people usually have 2 loans on their property, an equity line and then their main line that they have loaned against. If there's a 3rd loan, it usually means they refinanced or they paid off a loan that was never reconveyed off the property. So the title company will work with the seller to reconvey that off. We often get people tell us, oh, we've owned that property forever, that's no longer there. I believe your client, I believe you. However, a title company does not work on a promise. We need to have everything absolutely documented and recorded. So we will work with your seller to collect the right information, record it, and remove it so title can be given free and clear to the buyer.
Excellent. Who uses a preliminary title report?
Everybody in a transaction.
Yep.
So in a preliminary title report, the seller is going to want to look at that document and make sure that everything that they know of has been recorded and is disclosed on that preliminary title report.
They want to make sure that there's no undisclosed liens on that property as well.
That is super key. So a preliminary title report, if it is missed, it didn't get recorded at the county correctly, or there is something that the seller knows they probably should owe but it's not showing on the preliminary title report, that is not a get out of jail free card. The title company is issuing insurance to the buyer, meaning we are making sure that everything is free and clear from the seller. There is a part when we sign off that we say, Mr. Seller, is there any other debts and encumbrances that you know of? And if something comes up later, we will contact you to pay that off because it is the seller's debt.
Right, so it could be an IRS lien, it could be a mechanics lien, and a mechanics lien is basically where a contractor does work on the house and they're allowed to put a lien on the property in case the seller or the owner doesn't pay. They will be paid at one time or another, and this is when it comes to fruition when you do a refinance or sell the property.
Correct.
Right? All right, Kelly, well, thank you so very much for your time today. I know you're busy, and I appreciate you doing this with me, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you out there. All right, so now you know everything you ever wanted to know about preliminary title reports. If you still have questions or are unclear about anything, just give me a call or drop me a message below and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'm Vito Scarnecchia, Abitano Real Estate, your realtor in San Jose, California. We'll see you out there.